Welcome to Real Flix Reviews. We're like a book club for people who hate reading. This month we're doing movie shorts, and it's Rob's turn. We bring you movie news, and we have Jonathan Charney, James Stevens, Ryan Preston,
and the old guy.
So we're doing shorts, so you're up.
I have to do one of those little shorts. We're going to start. I managed to find three that kind of caught my attention, and we're going to start with the first one. It's entitled Cockpit, The Rule of Engagement. It was done in 2010. It's probably its most well-known actor was Ronnie Cox.
Yeah.
And he's been a character actor in a lot of stuff, so he's been around for a long time.
He's been in a couple of Schwarzenegger ones. I think the one I remember was Total Recall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the most recognizable character actor in Hollywood. So
I remember him as the captain from Beverly Hills Cop.
And nobody remembers him from RoboCop?
Oh, that's right.
Beverly Hills Cop guy to me, though.
Yeah, that too.
The synopsis is it's a short film by a talented team at the Triton Films, and I don't know Triton Films from the Hill of Beans, so I'm just saying they say they're talented. But 10 years after leaving a war his father started, Quinn and Amp live in the slums stealing illegal custom tech just to afford the batteries that keep Amp alive.
No, that's a different movie.
Yeah,
I just ran Amp instead of Cockpit Rules of Engagement.
Yeah.
Okay, so we could do Amp.
Okay, well let's do that one first.
Let's restart with Amp.
Yeah, hey,
okay.
Oh man.
Can we rewind this? I mean,
yeah, we could. You could restart it if you were really nice.
Let's just keep going.
So Amp.
Okay, so Amp. Amp again. Of course, I just read the description to it. Was a different movie altogether, and I just thought it was. Let's put it this way. I'm not going to give it any awards, but it was entertaining. I liked the robot probably the best out of the whole thing.
To me, this has a very 80s-esque
sure.
feel to it more than anything, especially, he has like the Hoff leather jacket and, and it's...
Yeah, and it's the old living in the garage, building, tech, and it's the anti-dad. He's against his dad. His dad is the big tech guru or something.
Yeah, this one for me, pretty much when it was over, I just kind of went, huh? That was really what it felt like. It was there was like really no.
You know why?
It was
too short.
Yeah, it was too short.
It was too short. It ended in the wrong place.
So many garbled plots all meshed into one.
Yeah.
And there was just...
See, I thought it made sense to me, but I've seen some of those movies that I was like, oh, okay, this makes sense.
But it was that, and this, and it was just so many things thrown into, and I don't have how long this one was right in front of me. 8 minutes.
Yeah.
There was so much thrown into 8 minutes that it's like, you guys just really just threw everything in there, blended it all together, and came out with Real Steel versus... a Rocky film versus an 80s soap opera versus... It's like, are you freaking kidding me?
Yeah.
Look, the thing I got from it was I started to see like shades of like Indiana Jones.
Yeah, that too.
And all of a sudden the chick shoots the guy. I swear, go back and watch Raiders of the Lost Ark. That's Marion shooting the guy that was about to kill Indy in the bar scene.
That's been done so many times.
That's exactly the thing that happened. She even looked like Marion a little bit. But
here's the other problem. I don't think there was any original script, actually true original script in this movie. As we said, it's snippets, right?
It was all like this guy must have been such a huge fan of action movies that he just kind of threw in all of his little favorite one-liners, and it was really weird. But check this out. In sort of my thinking that this guy must have been somehow involved in a lot of action movies or something, you said the only thing you liked about it was the robot?
Yeah.
Because it was the most dynamic character there?
Yeah. I like the robot dog better.
This guy's, what do you call it, special or visual effects resume. Starting with, let's see, the first notable one, Iron Man, District 9, Iron Man 2, Battle of Los Angeles, Thor, Battleship, Iron Man 3, a Percy Jackson movie, Elysium, Ender's Game, Captain America.
Holy shit.
Was Real Steel in there?
He's done visual for everything, but this is his first hand, it seems, trying his hand at directing.
Maybe that was his real garage.
Yeah.
That might have been his real garage.
The problem is there wasn't an 80s movie he didn't steal from. And I totally agree with James. There's too many layers for an 8-minute movie. This thing had too many layers.
He tried to do too much. Maybe this was his way of walking in into getting all these jobs, but if he's been in all these movies...
When you have that resume, what other thing do you need? Just hold up your IMDb page. Here's my interview.
Yeah.
Watch it. No. Yeah. Obviously, the guy is very talented.
Dude, I told you to put the midget corn pound.
It's a plot.
It's that again.
We're falling apart quickly.
You know,
anyway.
this one for me, it was, like I said, there was just too many things. The only good thing about it, like you said, were the robots. And those action scenes that the robots were involved in.
Right.
That was really the only interesting thing that could hold your attention.
Yeah.
Other
and you know
than
what's disappointing is that, you know, as you guys all know, because you've already picked the shorts, for you, when you go through there and you're hunting for a short, I didn't necessarily watch the whole short. I got the idea what it was, watched a little bit, and I said, okay, well, this could be interesting. So when I was picking them, I picked them basically by kind of the description and a little bit of it, and then I went and watched them. And I may have changed my choice on this one.
Yeah.
If I had spent the 8 minutes. Sorry about that.
I watched the entire things before I pick. But, you know, like you said, I did that probably the first couple shorts I did. I'm like, no, I think I should make it all the way through.
I actually kind of like this, but the problem is if you hadn't watched
You're an 80s fan.
Well, yeah, if you hadn't watched any 80s movie, you'd be lost. Because this movie makes no sense without the context of the entire 1980s.
Oh, no, I got what was going on.
Well, I think Ryan hit it right when he was talking about Iron Man, because that's all of a sudden the light clicked on, and I went, all right, I see where some of this came from. And
yeah.
It's not like he was using it like as an homage to 80s movies. He was just he thought that shit was cool.
Right.
Basically.
Well, I do think it is kind of an homage, but I agree. It's a defense.
Hey, let's put it this way. I have spent...
I think that was original dialogue.
Well, no, I would say by de facto it is, not on purpose.
I can tell you for a fact that I have spent worse 8 minutes.
Yes.
All right? So,
I'll
if you
give
look
you that.
at it that way...
You should see some of the shorts that didn't make it on that I've seen.
Yeah. Trust me, it took a while to even pick a few. So
I'm dying to know, what do you give it?
Me? Rob?
Yep.
Rob's going to give it a 3.
Wow, Rob's feeling generous today.
Yeah. What the hell? The guy tried hard, and and the other thing I look at is I couldn't do what he did.
So Ryan?
Okay. I have to qualify this a little. I would love to be able to review things in a bubble, not or capable of, because then you can just sort of review this.
He is in a bubble because his internet's not working.
Oh.
We can't yet. We may have to reboot.
For a second there, you sound like Max Headroom.
Yeah.
So hopefully your internet gets better. Why don't we shift over to James and see what he says?
I'm trying to think of a reason to give it a 2.
Uh-huh.
Come on, you can do it. You can do it.
Because,
I don't
because
really
you
think
have
I can.
You have seen worse 8 minutes. That's the only reason you'd give it a 2.
Yeah, and I guess the reason why is because how much effort was actually put in to the graphics of the robots. And that would be the only reason why. I think.
And it's shorter than Super.
Okay. No tentacle porn.
Well, but I understand entirely where you're coming from. This is a hard... For me, I gave it a 3 only because I thought that the guy put some effort into it, and I kind of liked the robot.
Yeah, but
I'm not saying it's... You're right. I should have probably given it a 2.
Well, but the statement that you said that actually... not being rude, but actually bothered me a little bit was you saying that you couldn't have done it. Isn't that the reason why we go to the movies? Is to see things that we couldn't have actually done?
Sure.
So,
I understand
on
entirely.
that part, I kind of think, of course we couldn't have done it, but...
I own the software.
I
I don't know
like
if I could do it.
I want to see it done well, and that's where I come
but
back
in this
on
case, I don't think this was done terribly.
So
I don't think
Ryan,
it was done terribly, but...
Am I back a little bit?
Okay, yes, you're back enough.
You're a little bit.
Come on, Ryan, let's hear yours. Oh, but James, what did you give it? You gave it a 2.
2, yeah.
2.
and I got to go with the 1 on this one.
Okay.
Because if anything, but to just discourage him from trying to helm a movie. Because we've seen what happens when you take his work and pair it with a good director.
Bring it home. You take your work home.
And District 9. This was abysmal, knowing what stuff
he's capable of.
With the same thing.
Yeah.
You know?
So I actually have to agree. With Rob. I give it a 3. Are you really surprised by now by the movies I like? I mean, come on.
I think it's funny. Ryan and I both had the same reaction at the same time.
Well, I think that's what makes the show.
For a second, James said, or Rob's thing, you said it's not the worst 8 minutes. We're not trying. I don't give a 1 only to the worst thing ever.
Oh, I do.
Things that are on par with that level of shittiness.
The Russian judges are going to have to come
You
out.
see, if I go by my old rating system, the rating system that we had,
Yeah.
A 1 is, absolutely horrible, and a 2 is little or no redeeming factors.
Right.
And this one, for me, the robots were little redeeming factors, so I can't go lower. So you guys got to come up with that rating system, and it would have been a 1.5.
You see, for me,
we're still working on yours, and Jonathan.
You see, I give it a 3 just because I was entertained. I like the
By
robot.
what? Her bouncing boobs when she ran?
It reminds me of a lot of 80s movies that I enjoyed. So I mean,
I'm just putting that out there, because I swear her outfit, the only reason that why she would be dressed like that was for that.
Well, yeah, it's because there was a lack of a plot, so they figured.
I kept on trying to figure out what she was trying to be wearing. Like, what is that? Some sort of wannabe tactical?
It
Right.
was hacky. Everything was hacky.
Oh, by the way, doesn't that cube she handed him look like the miniature version of the Hellraiser cube?
And why wouldn't you? I mean, we're in an age where we put a little mini stick now holds, a gig, trillions of bits, and
billions and billions
and
of
she
bits.
comes up with a Rubik's cube.
Yeah. I don't know.
All right.
So
Anyways,
I'm going to be tougher next
time.
time.
So we've beat this one up. So let's go to the next one.
Okay,
let's go back to the rule of engagement.
Okay, yeah. I'm
So
done with
do you
that one.
want me to read it?
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
Or you can have it in front of you. Just want to make sure you have the right one.
Well, I already read it though, so don't need to read it again.
No, you read Amped. You didn't read Cockpit. Engagement.
I did, didn't I?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, here we go. On IMDb, on rule of engagement, it's short. In 2103, one rule in fighter combat keeps a mind-controlling alien race away from Earth's doorstep.
The first thing I want to say about this is, even though this was 2010, there was some very bad green screen in this. The female inspector, or whatever you call it, was... She did not...
Hold on. Wait, Ryan, you have an issue?
I'm confused. I thought they were just hanging little ships from...
Okay. I thought you were saying that you got the wrong
strings
film.
Too.
Yeah.
Right.
Anybody... This kind of reminded me of Thunderbirds.
Yeah, you're bringing that up. Yeah, I was very disturbed by the spaceship design. Why were they F-16s? Isn't that what they look like?
Kinda.
More like fat F-16.
It's okay.
Yeah, it was...
Chunky, overweight F-16.
Yeah, with missiles sitting on the wings.
It's outer freaking space.
That's why I'm disappointed for poor Ronnie Cox. A guy that's got some good chops. Kind of did a lot.
The thing I do have to give them credit for,
you do,
is when they fired the gun, the only sound was the sound of the rounds being sent, not the rounds being fired. So it wasn't sounds in space. I got to give them that.
Yeah.
I got to give them credit for...
It failed. You know what? In the beginning, when they first showed the cannon swiveling over,
yeah,
it's totally reminded me of Battlestar Galactica,
Yes.
the newer show, and I'm like, oh shit, this is gonna be awesome. Because B-Star G, I'm sorry, I'm a nerd.
I'm with you on it.
No, me too.
They really nailed the sort of physics in space of the vacuum and with the thrusters and everything. After that swivel, nothing was good after that. Everything was, like I said, I thought it was like little ships on wires, like I was watching 1960s.
Yeah.
I liked what kind of story they provided you. Too bad the story was really the synopsis. I kind of like the idea of having to face an enemy you can't actually get close to. It was kind of unique.
Yeah, definitely. Really
so-
psychological of how to do things. You start kind of thinking about those little moments, like, oh shit, what would I do?
Yeah, that's the part I really liked this, because it definitely wasn't the graphics. The acting was
subpar at best. And
I'd say stiff
And
at
then
best.
I looked at the lady who was the government inspector.
Like the Communist Party member.
And the first thing I thought, were actually Nazis. I thought, okay, so Nazis have come back to rule, because we have this lady who's telling the captain, you can't do this, and now you're going to be inspected, and it's a political officer all over again.
Yeah, and the worst part was her line when she left, "I'm not supposed to care," or something like that.
Yeah, I actually liked that line. That was like the best line in the whole entire thing.
I was gonna say that, but I started to think after I finished it, like, oh, somebody thought of that and then made the movie.
So they made a movie so they could say the line.
Yeah, well, the quote was, "Hey, what if he was telling the truth?" And the government lady says, "It's not my job to care."
Well, that's
That was the line that was pitched in the meeting to get the money to make the movie.
You
best line in the whole movie.
because that was the reason why I liked this movie. Because at least it made me think a little, not too much, but at least enough to go, how would you fight it? The line where they said, "Well, I would eject. I know what the hallucinations look like." So it made you think a little bit, which I got to give it to you. It made you think more than, damn, this one's awful.
Well, it was another critical. It's another sci-fi alien added into the mix of sci-fi aliens that you got in Star Wars, that you got in probably more in Star Trek, Next Generation, and into that group where they had some interesting alien creatures.
Too bad this alien looked like Gollum.
And well, it did, but it would have been. It was a very interesting alien. It's too bad they didn't play that part up more, because
I felt the same way.
Yeah.
It also could have just been a projection from the. I mean, we never technically could have saw the aliens.
Right.
Yeah.
Aliens could have just been projecting that in your head. That's what you're seeing because that's what you're afraid of. That's your version of a monster.
Yeah.
So I mean, it had those kinds of. It had me thinking about a couple of things.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. It's very, very clever, I think.
That was the reason
I will give you that, but for me, this one, it just. How long was this one? It was in 12 or 22 minutes?
11 minutes or something.
Yeah, it was about 11 minutes. I think something like that.
12.
12.
Okay, this one did not feel 12 minutes. It felt like they were drawing certain aspects of it out, and the way that they were portraying what they were seeing and analyzing and things was very disjointed and very incoherent.
Yeah.
And you really had to think, which is a good thing, but this one, it seemed like there was just way too many things that they were not allowing you to get explained.
Well, yeah, some of it I also think, along with that, was way too forced or made up for the plot. Like the hacking scene,
right?
Like you're going to be able to hack some sort of mission camera.
Yeah, I understood where they were going from. I could see what they were trying to do. I just don't think they executed it very well at all.
So what would you give
it? I really
it?
don't. This one for me is just a right out one. And I wanted more from it. I was hoping that they would turn it around, redeem it somehow, and it just felt like they weren't able to do it.
So you give it a 1 out of 5?
I mean, obviously the best actor in the whole thing was Brian Cox, but and the girl, even her, she didn't really play the role really well either. She just seemed like she couldn't figure out if she wanted to be a bitch or if she wanted to be somebody that was,
I think everybody in this one kind of phoned it home. Everybody was kind of stiff. Like, you almost, like, some people, like the guy in the ship, almost sounded sincere.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much right. Yeah.
So what would you give this, Ryan? I'm dying to know.
I kind of got to agree with James. It's if we had made the system, I would be a 1.5. But I got to go with 1. Everything was pretty terrible. Like James said, it was really disjointed, and then it kind of falls apart. It was a slightly clever idea that I think just kind of failed in execution really badly.
Yeah.
Rob?
And it won an award, guys.
Well, that's
Remember
what
that.
I was about to bring up, because I was going to say one of the things that got me interested in this is that it's got an award, it's got a good actor. I mean, it had the potential. But I think that's where it ended.
Couldn't somebody
at the potential?
Couldn't somebody give it a Kane West moment and say you should give this to somebody else?
Well, it was obviously done with a very terrible budget, and the set sucked. The fighter jet sucked.
So
I
what
mean,
do you give
everything. It's a 1 for me.
See,
And
you know
John
me on
gives
sci-fi.
it the 4.
You know, I'm kind of on a fence between a 1 and a 2, and I'm going to change mine to 1 because
We convinced them.
There were parts I liked about it, but just solely based on the fact the plot was one of the more the basic idea, the short tiny paragraph on IMDb was enough to make you think about, hey, this is an original idea, and then they took an original idea and managed to put the worst CGI physical effects and costuming actually possible. So yeah, you know, I have to give it a 1 out of 5. The only reason I'm not giving it lower is because, well, like, we can't.
We can't. Yeah, I'm sorry. I just apologize for making you guys watch.
I would have given this a 0.5 based on the tiny bit of plot.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna do, but I just reversed.
Okay.
Brought it down.
All right, so the last one, the third one that I picked is Phoenix 9. It was a short done in 2014, I believe.
Yeah.
You redeemed yourself a little bit with this one, man.
Oh.
Wow.
He tipped his hand way too soon.
He's sucking up already.
Okay, well, anyway, after a global nuclear war has turned Earth into a scorched wasteland, a struggling group of survivors discover a secret installation that offers a new beginning, but not without a catch.
I liked this. The desert scene kind of vaguely reminded me of Resident Evil.
Okay.
Overall, I was actually kind of impressed. It was kind of the Pit and the Pendulum one we kind of did last week. It was simple, which I think simple for short is the better way to go.
So this one, for me, you know, it's an age-old plot. We've
like
heard this plot
Absolutely.
like a million times.
It's like the show Jericho, kind of.
And it's just got a little bit of a remix, kind of like, what was that, Matt Damon flick that we just recently did where he had the robot arms and stuff like that.
Oh, Elysium.
Elysium. It kind of seemed a little bit like Elysium ripoff of a story, even though it was done. It was done before that, right? You said 2014?
Yeah, 2014.
I would say Elysium crossed with a little bit of Mad Max, crossed with probably something else I can't name.
Anyways, but you know, this one had a lot of interesting things that they did with it. It got really kind of bogged down when they were all sitting in the basement.
Looking at the cake.
Yeah, looking at the cake thing. But I understood where they were going with it. They were trying to show the desperateness of everybody. And I don't want to get too far into it before everybody else jumps in. And I'm going to leave it there and let you guys kind of pick up.
Well, Ryan, let's hear what Ryan's got.
Oh, no, I mean, I kind of agree with James. I mean, it did get bogged down a little bit, but I understand they're trying to just sort of build the dynamic of the group so that when you get the turn at the end, you're kind of there like, oh shit, I wonder what's going to happen. Like, what's the choice going to be? Although I thought just like, I'd look to my left and be like, how many of these people could I kill with my bare hands?
And I would say the cake scene was probably, to me, it was very forgivable because they tried to do something, it wasn't executed perfectly, but to me it was very excusable because at least it added to the story.
It's set up for the end.
Yeah,
that's really what that whole scene was about. Was they set up for the end, and I'm going to bring this up now. I was going to bring it up at the end of all the shorts, but all of these shorts felt like they used sci-fi actors, really poorly stretched, thin actors that weren't able to deliver the lines as well as they should have.
Like young actors. Or
young actors. Yeah, inexperienced. That's
it's a budget thing.
I mean, it really is.
You got a restriction. You can't
this
get
honestly,
Pitt
that James reminded me. This is kind of like a sci-fi channel or a sci-fi channel movie. It has about the level of acting in it.
But that's where you felt it the most was when they were doing the cake scene but like I said, it was the lead up to the end.
Yeah,
the twist at the end, which we haven't gotten to yet.
Right.
He was also pretty clever with the use of like cinematography. Was pretty dynamic, which I wasn't expecting for this kind of a thing. Obviously, the use of the CGI was really well used.
Yeah,
and it was minus the end part, it was sparingly used through most of it.
Well, sort of, but I mean, you get the through the goggles vision, which was like refreshingly good. You're just like, oh, cool, okay, now I'm kind of into this.
Well, that's what I guess I meant by...
The characters were weird. The writing was a little bit shaky, but I think it was a lot to do with the delivery of, like we said, sort of the low-budget style actors.
Right.
Who probably work in a lot of garage
But
sets.
I would say...
But the thing I gotta bring this up while we're still talking about this, is that all that tech garble that he threw in when he was hacking
when
that.
He was trying to hack in that.
I mean, it was like, did you just make that up, or was that written for you?
That was
'Cause
written.
That was horrible.
That was written. That had to be.
Somebody could have spent 5 minutes on Google and come up with something a little better.
Yeah, and a lot easier to deliver.
Yeah. I would
I
say,
wonder
though,
how many times they had to do that shot.
I
Because
liked
the guy's just doing it in thin air, there's nothing there.
I liked how the CGI, instead of being the reason for that scene, it was an addendum to it, was an added. Because I don't think that's really, that doesn't happen a whole lot anymore, what adds to a scene instead of being just the scene.
Yeah.
Which is the reason I liked it. And the end, kind of switch here, I liked the end. It kind of had kind of like an Outer Limits-ish.
I didn't expect it.
I
That was
really
one
liked
thing
that.
I will say. I saw the big tornado, and I thought, okay, they're going to also try to get sucked out of this room, and that's what they're going to battle. And and then all of a sudden, they move that shelf, and the door opens, and to me, that was a bit of a surprise, which is a good thing. It's a good thing.
I do have a question, though. You have this probably $1 billion installation. You have this little tiny book with a wire that really opens.
Why not?
That to me
Got to
was
have a
kinda
little low tech. It's been working.
It
thousands
could have
of
been
years.
because they were at the end of the thing, and they were trying to look like broke people so that they could blend in, type thing, to take their money and take off. Because that's really what it kind of seemed like in the beginning of it, how the society had crumbled, and there was the big caste difference, like him and his brother. They were in different caste systems, obviously.
Yeah. Well, it was funny though when you watched that couple.
A little bit of leading in.
That's the
couple-
probably the beginning of the movie you're talking. The beginning of the short.
Well, that's what I was
Yeah.
talking about. Yeah.
Because I guarantee that's where they were headed to.
Yeah. Yeah. So what I was the last thing that I had to mention is I just wonder how much the Mass Effect soundtrack cost. Was I the only one that, the gamer guys out here? I mean, come on.
That's a good point. I didn't. Yeah, you're right.
That was seriously rip off of Mass Effect.
$13.95 on Amazon, baby.
Sorry.
That's hilarious.
They haven't
really,
been caught yet.
Listen to it again.
So what do you give this movie?
This one I give a 3.
So, Brian?
I agree.
I watched this one as the last one. It was actually a
Me too.
refreshing
Yeah, it
relief.
was the best one.
Rob?
That's why
I'm gonna
was
give it a
so
3.
The first two is because I watched this one first.
Oh,
Oh.
and you were hoping for better. I reeled you in like a fish.
So I actually have to agree. I give this a 3 out of 5. I really liked it a lot. But before we go on to the movie news, I want to say thank you for kind of putting up with us and doing movie shorts. We've said it before in the few episodes we've done it. The reason why we do it is it's the future actors, actresses, directors, etc. And we do believe that you'll find a diamond in the rough or like it, and you get and hopefully we'll see some of these people in the future, minus maybe the guy who did AMP in the director's chair.
This one, if anything, has potential.
I really enjoy doing the shorts, and I look forward to when we do them again.
Yeah, I do too. It's always a fun thing, and I actually found a really long list of shorts in my bookmarks.
Oh, jeez. So
Forgot about it.
Stay tuned. We'll definitely do this again. I don't know if we'll do a month. Maybe we'll do an episode here and there. But stay tuned for that because we do really enjoy it. And want to remind you that we do have a Facebook page. So please head over. Do you love us? Hate us? Do we have hate mail for you? Hey, or how about pause for the cause and help keep the lights on? And Rob, you have movie news?
I was looking for decent movie news, and there really wasn't any this week, except we got a couple of interesting things that I found interesting. I think if you guys, I grew up with The Man from U.N.C.L.E. As being a pretty cool TV series, and Robert Vaughn and Elio Kiriakin's the character. What's his name? Well, anyway, I apologize. I'm old. So Harry Cavill, he's going to ditch his Superman suit for a tux in this movie, and so that's pretty cool. I think it should be fun. I'm looking forward to seeing that. So that's in production.
That's funny.
That one is one that I've been looking forward to for some time.
Yeah.
Ryan or James brought this up in one of the early episodes about talking about that man from Uncle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So this has been in the
So it looks like it must be getting close to being wrapped up because they're really starting to push the
Good.
advertisement on it.
That's
So that's
exciting.
cool. That's really good. And then I just got to say, I can't believe that we've legitimatized porn now in the movie theaters by putting out this 50 Shades of Grey, which basically, I haven't read the book.
It's not meant for
women
you.
seem to be, salivating over this. And from
Nobody
what
I
I've heard,
know.
basically it's a legit porn.
Yeah.
Whatever the hell that means.
And it started out as Twilight fan fiction, ladies and gentlemen.
Really?
Yes, that's exactly how it started.
Yeah.
And they call it mommy porn because it's sort of this safe kind of, not even getting into like the softcore porn
Right.
side of the world. It's explicit in some points, but a lot of implication and things like that. It's like Eyes Wide Shut. That sort of.
The funniest thing is I don't know any women who are actually wanting to see this. I know more who are against it.
I actually know too, but I've seen so many
Wow.
more people against it and saying that this is relationship rape. People, wake up. And that's really what I see being pushed more than anything else. And it's
Right.
not for one person; it's for more than one.
Yeah.
I'd like to address those people who believe that it's relationship rape. It's fiction. It's not actually happening. Okay. However,
Very
you
true.
feel about the subject matter, that's another story. But you know what I mean, like in your personal life. But it's a movie. Let's not rail against like your distaste towards things. Don't watch it.
And
You-
you,
The only thing I had to say about that one is one of the comments one of the writers says, "Thank God this wasn't made in 3D."
so do you have any next movie news?
And I got
got
just one more that I thought might be interesting, and it figures they'd finally jump on it. HBO is going to have their own online service coming up.
Did they say the price wise? Because HBO
no.
Go, because
You know
HBO
what?
Go's been there for a while, but you
They're-
have to have a DirecTV, Comcast, etc.
Yeah, they're
account.
pushing it as a premium cabler offer. So my guess is they may be a little more expensive than Netflix, but
So probably $20.
yeah, probably. But they're not talking. They're gearing up. But I didn't get a lot of information to tell you more than that, other than the fact that that's in the mix, and so they're going to be doing that too.
Oh, interesting.
So
Well, I
there's
wish
my
them
movie
luck.
news for you.
I do want to say something that I found, and because I find this fascinating. The new trailer for Agent 47 Hitman is out. I haven't watched it. It's on the Real Flix Reviews Facebook page. I'm looking forward to see how. Huh?
They're doing another movie.
Yeah, because the original one was Timothy Oliphant.
You mean
Yeah.
that wasn't a big box office success?
No.
Unfortunately, it wasn't.
So this one apparently is.
I own it though.
This one, so do I. This one's with Zachary Quinto.
Right.
Wasn't he from the movie Heroes and
He's in
played
Star.
Spock?
He was he was Spock.
The TV show Heroes.
Yeah.
And Spock.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen the trailer. I'm looking forward to see it because I actually really like the one with Timothy Oliphant, but I like him anyways. So
Justified, man.
that's
I think this guy's pretty cool too, though. I mean, he's.
Oh, yeah.
He's a good actor.
He's got his
moments.
yeah, he's got some moments of good
Yeah.
acting, and so far I've seen him do really well. Although, kind of the roles he's been playing have been kind of typecasting for him,
A
though.
little bit. I think he's still trying to find his way in Hollywood, and I think Hollywood's still trying to find their way with him.
That's
I
a
think-
good thing.
I
But
think
he is
this-
talented.
I think this one's going to be a stretch. If it's good, I think it'll be a stretch for him because most people know him as Spock or the bad guy from Heroes.
Right.
Yeah.
This one, I think, it's kind of on the fence between a good guy and a bad guy, which if it's a box office hit, I bet will help him if he's a good actor. in it.
I hope
think
so.
He's already a character actor.
Right.
I think so. Yeah.
I think he's already going to become whoever. He's got that morphable face. You can put, freaky ears on him or different hairstyle, and he's somebody else.
Yeah.
So we're going to see him in the next Batman movie as Clayface.
Awesome.
So
All right. I'm down.
so that
As long as it's not Benny.
So next week is our theater pick, and since I don't remember what we chose,
Kingsman?
We picked on the Kingsman, the Secret Service. It's
remember
pinned
it.
as
I'm the old guy.
2014, but it's being released this coming Friday. So
and we will be doing next week. We will be recording next week's episode on Tuesday at the standard time.
yeah,
And
Just remind me, you change times and days on me, I'm gone. I'll be drifting out in the street somewhere.
oh great, now I'm gonna
that
have to watch
again.
out for him. I'm gonna have to
I'm getting
install.
old.
I'm gonna have to put LoJack on him.
There you go.
So, ladies and
Dad
gentlemen,
Jack.
ladies and gentlemen, as always, see you next week.
goodbye.
Thank you.